Is there a part in the arc of Bilbo's story that has particular resonance for you personally as you've read it or reflected on it, either personally or with connection to your passion for places and art, as you say, architectural integrity and preservation?
Yeah, I think what's interesting, I mean, there's so many great moments for Bilbo, but I do love his encounter with the ring. I definitely think that's one of the very crucial element of the story because in a lot of ways that ring, yes, it's the one ring to rule it all, to rule all, but the reality is Bilbo was looking for a way to become a crucial and critical element, of this journey, right? Like he's trying to kind of live up to the expectations. Oh, and he's trying to prove everyone wrong. He's trying to prove that, yeah, I am kind of the burglar that Gandalf is promising. I am kind of that person. I can weave through places. I can be completely undetected and come out with the Arkenstone, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I think he was looking for that because at first he had a ton of self-doubt. I don't think he was all that comfortable with the role that's been given to him, right? You can kind of sense that he's like, well, am I really the burglar? Why? Who says that I haven't really done any of that? Why am I suddenly the, kind of the appointed person to be able to, get to Smaug? I think that's part of his dilemma. He didn't understand why he was thrusted into this position. And this manifests in our lives in many ways, right? Like kind of at workplace, sometimes we're called upon to do things that we think that we can do it, but we're not sure if we can be all that necessarily, right?
Right.
Right. And parenting, book writing, there's everything becomes sort of this question of can I or can I not do it? And so his when he discovered that ring, it was almost like he was finding that magic wand. I mean, it is a magical ring in a lot of ways, but he was looking for that magic wand that does it all. For the lack of better words, like it just does it all. Like it gives him the position, it gives him the power, it gives him the prestige that he was looking for. And I think that was when I realized that, okay, so the ring, beyond the fight between good and evil, right? Beyond this amazing storyline that Tolkien built, I think on an elemental level, we all just want something that really solves it all. And I think Gandalf, and as a person, as the leader almost, right, of that group, you kind of see times when that group was hoping that Gandalf would show up. And even as readers, you're like, where's Gandalf in this at this point of the story? Right? We want Gandalf to show up. Isn't this so much easier if Gandalf is here? It would all just be completely fine if Gandalf's right. So even it starts with the ring and then Gandalf seeking help, right, from the elves. Lady Galadriel was Gandalf's help and aid in some ways. And Lady Galadriel relies on the elves rely on, right? So there's this whole sort of ripple effect of every element of the story is really needing or wanting rather, right? I don't know if they necessarily need it. They're wanting something that solves it all. And I think that was really something that resonates with me because what it meant is that it really doesn't matter, right? How big, how small, how amazing, how rich, how powerful, how anything we are, there will always be an element that we want to kind of that we are needing external definition and external something, and that could be something that is justified. That could also just be something that is again inherent in our programming. And a lot.
Yeah. Interesting. Sorry, did I cut you off?
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. The ring, like so many things, it's interesting to me to explore the extent to which the human psyche has little talismans that embolden us. Even if now in the ring's case, it really has power. But I think there are situations, there are dynamics where people will have, I think of snow globes. Like there's something about connecting ourselves to something beyond our limitations and even our insecurities that, can embolden you and discover that you had it all along, but you needed this device, this talisman, this token to activate it. Is that a fair point? Question?
Absolutely. I think it's a very fair point, right? It's absolutely a fair point, because if you look at the structure of a lot of animistic villages and animistic communities right now, there's the sort of the lore of the medicine man, medicine woman, and they always carry a staff. And in a lot of different cultures, that staff is not just a staff because they need something to lean on necessarily. A lot of the belief actually revolves around that staff having an actual embodied meaning into it, right? Be it spirit or whatever you want to call it. Of course, every different groups have different beliefs on what that means. But either way, it's more than just an object. So your point on the talisman is absolutely on point, because it's kind of also like when we are thinking about ideas, we really can't make sense of it just quite yet until we put it down on paper, right? It's not necessarily that the paper has all of the power. It's just we can't see it all within us. We need something that is projected outside externally that represents that, embodies that, kind of really creates a form, a structure that we can then see back and understand, see back, hear back, experience back, whatever that means. And I think that is part of the talisman, because the talisman is everything that happened at the time, but it's also everything that happened since, right? Because when we look back at the talisman, the staff, the book, the journal, whatever it is that you're creating or you're carrying, you now have a built-in perspective, meaning, and landscape applied onto that object. And now it's even richer, because now when you created that talisman, when you found it, the ring, when you created the journal, that idea that you jot down, now you've had days, weeks, months, years on top of that can then inform what that means. So that is exactly why these things, I mean, not to say that, to make these objects really something that is beyond us necessarily. It's just an extension and projection of all of the greatness and flaws that are within us, because without those things, it's very difficult actually to create a clear perception. It's kind of like movies, even like when you think of movies are actually, they are created, and a lot of movie makers and cinematographers can talk about this a lot more deeply, but they consist of different frames, right? Multiple frames. It's kind of like a picture book that you kind of flip, and then it creates almost a cartoon movement, but then page by page, they're all very still. So these stills are kind of like a chance for us to take us out of time and say, oh, that's what that meant that time, right? At that very particular instance. And without these stills, frames, talisman, objects, creation, writing, books, is very, very hard for most people to be able to make sense of everything that we think about and experience. So yeah, that's a really great point.
I'm grinning because you have, thank you. You have touched on, you have referenced the finite and the infinite multiple times. And these implements, rings, books, etc., it seems to me that we are forever trying to capture and contain the infinite in finite means, because that is what we have to work with. But we perpetually are seeking and trying to connect to the infinite. Whether we call it a spirituality, we call it, cosmology, whatever, that seems to be a big part of what's going on in the human existence.
Absolutely.
And